All right. All right. Welcome to On The Sideline. I'm your host, Jeff Holden. We're here today with Big O.
What's good?
That's new.
Andrew. Oh, okay.
Coach Evan Hearn. And our special guest today from Electra, Texas, head coach, football coach, obviously, Mr. Josh McKiddy.
Nice.
All right. So, as you guys know, this is part of our new mini-series we got going. It's called the 940 Football Preview. Pretty simple. So, Coach Evan Hearn came up with an idea, basically, that instead of – we don't have the resources to get out to every field.
Sure.
Okay? Not in this time frame. I mean, we still got our own kids going, doing, and everything else. But Coach Hearn here said, let's see if we can get the head coaches to come in. So we're like, okay, that sounds pretty smart. So we do appreciate you coming in, making the drive from Electra. We're excited. We know football's king in the state of Texas. We know football's coming right around the corner. We're excited to learn about the Electra Tigers. And, we'll just get started. Coach Evan with the first question.
Again, Coach McKiddy, appreciate you for coming on with us today. Mm-hmm. And so how about you just give everyone an introduction about yourself?
This has been my first year at Electra. I came in last year, so I had last season. We went 3-6. I had when I came in, it was a total rebuild. During the situation, there was some things, in the community. The community had taken like maybe a nosedive as far as population goes, and that of course hurt your athletic program when that happened. And so when I came in, I looked at a friend of mine sent me the Padilla poll, Carl Padilla's poll, and whatever, there's 160 teams or whatever, and we were 159 or something. It's like, okay,
not bad.
Not a lot of faith in us.
Can't go too much further
down. There was
down.
nowhere to go but up.
There you go.
So, and it wasn't, you can't look at it and say it was this person's fault or that person's fault. And so I didn't come in and say, okay, well, we have to change this because that's why they were losing, or we have to change this. We couldn't do that. Instead, I just had to say, okay, what's my approach to this thing? And I think it's been good for the city and for us because I take a foundational approach to things. I'm consistent in everything that I do and everything that I say, and that's a huge deal for the kids is just having consistency. And so I came from Salina. I've been all over. Most schools I've worked at have been 6A schools, Midland Lee, Coppell, Prosper. So I've been around the state. I was a graduate assistant, fortunate enough to do that at SMU for Phil Bennett. Mm-hmm. I was a strength coach as a student assistant for a while for Texas Tech when I was there. I served in the Air Force here at Shepherd Air Force Base.
Thank you for your service.
Absolutely. Thank you. You're welcome. I married my high school sweetheart. So we, been together for a while and celebrate 25 years this year. And so I have 3 kids. My daughter just graduated from the University of Texas. My son's going to West Texas A&M. And then I got a young one that's going to be a sophomore this year.
Oh, nice. So you said
That's
you
pretty
coach.
awesome.
You got an extensive coaching side of you.
Mm-hmm.
What is Electra your first head coaching job? And
It is.
If so, what garnered you to Electra?
Just like anybody, I think that gets in the business. Well, I shouldn't say anybody, but a lot of us that they get in the business. You want to be the head coach. You want to be the boss. You want to see if the things that work. Mm-hmm. And so there was a while there where I was chasing that head coaching dream, and then I kind of got away from it because my kids were getting to a point to where I just needed to put them in a good program.
Right.
And so we kind of, soul searching and things like that. And I think I did 3 head coaching interviews, early 30s, mid 30s, and struck out on all of them, as a finalist and all that, but just never kept hearing the same thing. Well, you don't have head coaching experience.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't ever get it if you don't get a start.
Yeah. And so, we lived in the Collin County area, in the Prosper area. So I took a job there. Then I had an opportunity to go to Salina, and of course, historically powerhouse in the state of Texas, and what a great program to put my kids in.
Yes.
And so I kind of just gave up the head coaching deal for a while. Had somebody reach out to me and kind of, ignited that flame again. And so I sent out a resume to Electra, and lucky enough, the guy that was a superintendent's not very bright, and so he hired me. And
I doubt that.
I'm joking. He's an awesome dude. Don Hasley. He's the best in the business. And he gave me this opportunity, which I'll forever and ever and ever be grateful for. And again, it was one of those things where you learn all this stuff, but can you put it into play? And so I took all this stuff, and I was a resource for this school, this little 2A school that had 96 kids in the high school. And I thought, man, let's see if it works. And we did. We had some success, not as much as we needed to, but I think we did better than what some people would think, but not as good as, of course, what we want.
All right, so Coach, talking about last year, first and foremost, I want to start with how many seniors did you graduate last year?
We graduated 9 seniors.
9 seniors. Speaking of one of those seniors, I always like to shout him out. He was one of the kids that played in our All-Star game, Jeremiah Murphy. How hard is it going to be for you to replace a kid like Jeremiah?
He was responsible for a lot of touchdowns, and I think at one point during the year he led the area in touchdowns. He was the favorite target. My son played quarterback, and so he was the favorite target. Jeremiah being 6'4", you get some mismatches up on the edge, especially at the 2A level. And not only that, but he made some spectacular catches, one-handed stuff, over-the-shoulder stuff, shouldn't have done. He was a kid that I was super proud of because he was a kid that was not going to play, and then decided at the last minute he was going to play with maybe a little nudge from his dad, and it wound up being really good for him and great for us. And so I don't know if you can ever replace exactly what he did, but I think we have guys, that are chomping at the bit to say, hey, I want to catch touchdowns too. I want to do what Jeremiah did. I want some of that glory too. So that's good stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jeremiah, he was a stud. Like you mentioned, he played in the All-Star game with us.
Red
But a
River
multi-sport-
22 basketball.
Multi-sport athlete. I mean, I don't know. Did he end up getting an offer for baseball, right?
He's going to Wayland to play
Wayland.
baseball.
Baseball, yeah. So that's pretty awesome. Good job for him.
Yeah, so Coach, pretty much. So we talked about you losing a few seniors. Can we talk about what do you have coming back this upcoming
Yeah,
season?
excited about the speed that we have. We're a fast team. If anything, we're not very big, but I think that we got some kids that can run. We're I think 3-peat district champions in track. And of course that's at a different level. It's 1A level during the spring, but now we'll be 2A. But we were the area district champs or the area champs in track, and so. And any coach will tell you, that's a great barometer. Maybe not what kind of football player you are, but what how fast you are. And we have a lot of those guys coming back. We have 9 regional qualifiers that are all playing football, and so one of those guys going to be a senior is Nathan Harlow. He's kind of a do-it-all kid. He'll be a captain for sure. He's a great kid, great for the community. Going to be a senior. Was on all the relay teams and things like that, and wanted to be on the relay teams and not. And here's the deal, I'm one of those guys where I'm a big relay guy, and the reason I'm a relay guy is because I think anybody can go out there and run 100 because that's just one dude. But when you got to be a part of something special, and it take that millisecond, to hand something off, that's a big deal. Yes. And so here's a kid that sacrificed himself, who could have easily ran the 100, but sacrificed himself to go 4x1, 4x2, 4x4, and we did well in all those. And he's a kid that can do that. Plays linebacker for us, plays a slot receiver, plays a little bit of running back, depends on what offense we're in. But great. Also got another kid. He's a big offensive lineman. He's the strongest kid in the area. Literally, he's the strongest kid in the area. His name's Gio Cedillo. And Gio is, he'll play somewhere on the offensive line for us, and he'll play some defensive line. But he was the number 1 ranked power lifter for most of last year. Had a little injury. They couldn't make it to state. But between those two guys, those are kind of our really special. I shouldn't say really special more than any other, but guys that we can lean on a lot. And not only that, but they've been in the program with me since I started, and so they're hitting their consistency. We also have a move-in that came from S&S Consolidated. His grandfather's actually the one that the stadium's named after in Vernon, Q Britton.
That's cool.
Not Q Britton. I said Q Britton.
I was going to say, I don't know.
Coach Britton. I forgot his first name. I'm sorry. But Braden Turner's this kid's name, and Q was at Marcus a long time ago. Whole another story. But Coach Britton's daughter is a teacher for us. They moved back, and so Braden's going to be a senior and play a little bit receiver, tight end, safety for us, and is a good one to watch.
At Orthopedics Express, our primary focus is delivering exceptional care to patients with orthopedic injuries, such as sprains, strains, broken bones, and joint pain. You'll receive the expert care you need when you need it most. Simply walk in or schedule an appointment through MyChart. Located inside the Center for Advanced Orthopedics, Orthopedics Express is your fast track to orthopedic care.
So you talked about you graduated 9 seniors, and this just finished your first year. So what did you learn from your team last year that you're going to change, or maybe to elevate your team for next year?
Sure. I really try not to change anything, and that, and I'll never know if everything works perfect or anything like that, but what I don't want to do is change things so much that the kids become confused, whether it's offense, defense, the way we stretch, the way we work out in the weight room. Everything is the same. When they hired me, I told them I'm not a guy that every year I come in and I have a saying. And I love those sayings. Don't get me wrong. I think there's a place for them. But people say burn the boats or brick by brick or whatever the saying is for that. And I think they're awesome. They're great for T-shirts and stuff like that. They're not good for programs. I don't do that. We don't have any sayings. We don't do anything like that. We are who we are, and it's the same way every single day, and we try to be as best we can at that. And so, I don't know if there's like a unique thing where, and that doesn't mean we don't change offenses or defenses, because if you're good enough, I think you change those to match your personnel, and you highlight your kids, of course, what's going to be successful. But we don't go through wholesale changes or anything like that. I would say the thing that, I learned so much last year, so don't get me wrong, and I'm still learning, and I want to learn. But I think it's the fact that as a head coach, you do so much more than X's and O's.
Yep.
And I knew that going in. Everybody always told me that, and the guys that I work for, I just didn't realize it was to the nth degree. And football is sometimes very, very low on that totem pole of the things. Playing counselor to not only kids but parents, and listening to stories and helping people through tough times and stuff like that, you've done it before, but again, that's all multiplied when you're the head guy.
Yeah, I guess just piggybacking off of that, I guess it doesn't change really, because I feel like we do that in top of Texas, consulting parents and having to listen to all that. And so, I guess it stays the same when you get up there.
And everybody's got a story, and, you have a kid that comes to practice one day and they're great, and the next day they come and they're sad. And it's just like, you try to tell the coaches, don't jump that kid's rear just because he's not having a good day, because you have no idea where that kid just came from.
Yep.
Right.
So you got to take it, you as a head coach, you got to wrap your mind around all that stuff. Whereas as a position coach, you're just like, hey, I need these reps done at this speed, and I need this. And sometimes you forget about that. Whereas a head coach, you're seeing these emails all day and answering the phones all day, and you're like, well, hold on, we got to take it easy on this kid, or fix it to where the kid feels comfortable.
So let's talk about your non-district schedule this season. Who you guys got?
We got a big one to start off with, and that's Santo, and they're good. They're well coached. I can't say there's a team that's not well coached in our non-district or district, but they're good. Smash Mouth team, which is really good to start off. But we also have Petrolia. And I know they got a new coach. Looking forward to that matchup. I'm sorry, not Petrolia. I got ahead of myself. Nakona, Coach Kurtzinger out there does a great job. Our game last year, we ran back the opening kickoff, got it to the 6 or 7 yard line. Then they stuffed us, and then lightning hit, and that was the end of the game.
Oh, man.
And it was just like, are you joking me?
Yeah.
And we really wanted to play that game because they were very good, really good, and we kind of wanted to show that we were, better than what people might expect, and just didn't get that opportunity after that goal line embarrassment. But then, but between that, Nakona, and then we got Era. Era's got a new coach, Coach Tanner. Their JV last year was really good, so I'm expecting them to be very athletic. I'm not exactly sure what they're doing offensively or defensively, but I think it's going to be good. Who else? Top of my head, sorry. I'm sure I'm missing somebody, but
Yeah.
got those guys for sure. And then, and then we roll into district, which our district, people, you won't find a poorly coached team in our district, and like I said, you can say that about our non-district opponents, when those guys call me, cause I had some other calls too, trying to schedule non-district games. And I was just like, what, I don't know if that's the kind of matchup we wanted. I want this matchup specifically because I know these kids are tough kids that we're going to play, and I want to play tough kids. I want to play good coaches with tough kids, if that makes sense.
That seems to be the mantra for all our head coaches, with their scheduling non-district is, playing tough opponents to get you set up for district. And so with that said, the UIL, always does realignment every 2 years. Did you guys district change?
No, it didn't change. but in the sense that it didn't change, you know, it's such a change at the 2A level. I'm seeing this more than maybe at the 6A level. At the 6A level, we could kind of guarantee who we were going to see as far as personnel wise.
Right.
At the 2A level, there's so many people that move in, that move out. It's so cyclical. You may have an 8th grader that the very next year is starting on varsity. And so at the 2A level, it's so different. So no, the district didn't change, but that doesn't mean, you know, there's some familiarity for sure, but it doesn't mean that they're completely different teams, and doesn't mean that they're totally new either.
Okay. Speaking of your district, Coach, just a little bit about your district. I feel that you guys have a couple juggernauts, teams that are always on the top. Do you have any teams within your district that I guess the preparation? I guess you take everybody serious, of course, because it's district play. But is there games that your players seem to kind of within themselves look forward to playing?
You know, me being so new here, I still don't know the big rivalries. I mean, people will tell me, well, this was a rival, that was, so I don't know that. So, you know, the way that I approach every game is the same. You know, whether the kids get more hyped up for somebody. I know as a young guy in high school, we definitely had a rival. But, you know, as the head coach here in Electra, I don't really have my finger on that deal. And I don't know if I want to. You know, I want to go out and play Petrolia just like we play Windthorst, just like we play Seymour, and I want to be the same cat that week that I am every week. And I don't want to change, because if I start changing, the kids will start noticing it. You know, the kids' BS meters off the chart, so they see that stuff real quick, and they're like, well, why is he so hopped up last week and this week? He don't, you know. So I don't want to be that guy.
The realtor we trust is Kim Roark, given to others with love. Kim was raised in this community and has been selflessly serving for over 20 years. Kim encourages everyone to thrive in their purpose. Kim is part of the Homes for Heroes program, where she gives back a portion of her commissions from each closing to all military, firefighters, law enforcement, healthcare, and educators who use her services. Whether you're looking to buy or sell, Kim is the realtor for you. Go check out the website, homesforheroes.com. Since starting from scratch in 2020 by longtime resident of Clay County, Bob Belcher, Duck Creek Disposal has quickly become one of the most trusted waste disposal service and dumpster rental companies serving the 940 community and the surrounding areas. Local to the core, they take immense pride in being a part of the Wichita Falls community. Duck Creek Disposal's deep roots mean that every customer is treated like a neighbor. Their promise is to guarantee the best customer experience in the area, and they live by it. Whether you're a homeowner, contractor, or business, they've tailored their services to suit varied requirements. Bob's hands-on approach and belief in personal connection means that when you call Duck Creek Disposal, you're experiencing a standard of service that Bob himself envisioned. You talk to real people, not a machine. Go give Bob a call at 940-257-5660. Serving the 940 community for 12 years, Allegiance Electric and Controls is the trusted go-to for commercial and industrial electrical solutions. Contact them for reliable, tailored services to keep your operations running smoothly. Please call or visit their website at aecllc.com. For all your paving and concrete needs, we trust Freeman Paving, LLC. Located in Vernon, Texas, Freeman Paving is our recommended business for concrete, paving, and dirt work. They have over 20 years of experience working right here in our community. Next time you need any concrete work, give them a call, 940-552-9496. If you're looking to treat yourself to a delicious dessert, then Yogurt Journey is the place to be. Yogurt Journey offers 12 delicious flavors of frozen yogurt with over 60 topping options. If you want something warm instead, stop by to enjoy an amazing funnel cake, fried Oreos, fried brownies, or fried candy. Yogurt Journey also offers frozen yogurt rolls, waffle frozen yogurt rolls, and smoothies. If you need a cake for your next celebration, Yojo provides custom frozen yogurt cakes. Yogurt Journey is located on Kemp Street across from Barwise Middle School and is open daily from 12 to 9 p.m. For all your roofing related needs, we choose Assured Roofing and Construction. At Assured Roofing and Construction, their hard work is based off honesty, loyalty, and integrity, ensuring that every customer gets what they deserve and is happy and stress-free throughout the entire process. When any storm damage occurs to your roof, gutters, fencing, or siding, Assured will have you covered and help you from the initial free inspection to filing your claim, meeting with adjusters, and getting your damaged property fixed properly. Give AJ a call at 940-782-1194.
Okay, so Coach, another thing I would ask you. I noticed you said this is your first head coaching job. So you come from coaching at Solana, some powerhouse schools. So Solana is just program history, and you come from that nice, beautiful stadium that they got out there, man. It's plastered all over Facebook.
Gordon Wood.
Yes, sir. So, what's your coaching philosophy? Are you a defensive or offensive guy? And what can we see? What would be the philosophy on offense and defense this year for the Electra Tigers?
I think so. My priority is always defense. I kind of cut my teeth on the defensive side. I was a defensive coordinator for several schools. I moved over to the offensive side probably about 10 years ago, but I still put the majority of the emphasis on the defense. A guy that I just hired, Peyton Jackson, coming over from Quanah, got really lucky with that hire, and he's my defensive coordinator. And, we were talking the other day, about skills and things like that. And I said, well, defense is up first. And he's like, really? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, okay. He goes, that gets me excited. And I was like, dude, your priority here. I was like, you're the guy. And I said, so don't mess it up, but, and it's tough for me to give up those reins of, last year we were in a weird situation. I have a coach, unfortunately, who's dealing with some personal stuff that they're out of town a lot. And I had some other coaches that just they weren't what we needed on staff. So basically it became Coach McKiddy doing the offense and the defense and the special teams. And I feel really good about this year saying, okay, Coach Jackson, you have this, Coach Quillen, you have this, Coach Glasscock, you have, whatever, just moving guys around and giving them more responsibility so I can really be a head coach. And manage the game more than I did last year. Last year, that hurt us, I think. But if you're looking at from it, what do you guys do? What do you hang your hat on? I think we'll tell you, I'll always tell you, and I think everybody says it, we're a physical team. Everybody says, we're a physical team. Well, I'm telling you right now, we're a physical team. And, the proof is in the pudding because the guy that I hired, Coach Jackson, he called me that Monday after the game, and he's like, dude, I don't know what you are doing. He goes, but y'all freaking hit us in the mouth. He goes, that was unbelievable. We feel we are beat up, and we've never been that way against Electra. And so I felt really good about that. And, I want to continue that. When I was at Midland Lee, there was always a saying in West Texas that Permian may beat you, but Midland Lee will beat you up. And when I was at Midland Lee, we wore that with a badge of courage or a badge of honor. And I want to do the same thing here. We might not beat you, but we will be physical with you.
That's good. I got a question for you. Do you guys have a strength and conditioning coach over there, Electra?
You're looking at him.
All right.
He already said he was.
Well, he said he touched on it. I didn't know that he continued to do it.
If you also want to know about our maintenance issue, that's also the guy you're looking at. No, I cut grass. That's all.
You do that because you like to cut grass,
I cut
right?
grass and weed eat, and so I can get out of the coach's office.
There you go. So, man, that's kind of been a topic. Some of the head coaches this year getting new strength and conditioning coaches. Do you think that that's something that you would want to maybe, if we could ask Electra ISD or Electra right now, get this man a strength and conditioning coach, because that's another thing that just takes off your plate.
Yeah, I think I've been all over the map with that. And I know during the summer some people hire outside sources, a third party, to come in to run their summer stuff, which I think is great. I've been at places like that. I've been at places that had a strength conditioning coach. When I first started at Texas Tech, I was a strength guy, and I love it all. I would say in the way that we do things is sometimes, and I know everybody does it differently, and until you're in our program and you see what we do and how we do it, I think it'd be hard for someone. It would be hard just to have a solo strength coach, because that what they do not only touches like that weight room, but it touches football and basketball and baseball and track. And there's and I learned it, just from having a career of 20 plus years and being at a place like Salina, and, the Prosters and Coppells of the world, there's a certain way to do it to make it all make sense. Yeah. And, at the 6A level, it's very compartmentalized. So you have the strength conditioning program, and then you have the football program, and then you have the, whatever. But ours is built to where it marries everything together. And so without doing it a certain way or the way that we do it, then our track program wouldn't be as good as it is, and our football program wouldn't be as good as it is. And so though it would be really hard for me to turn the keys over to someone else as a strength conditioning guy, unless it was someone I knew or somebody from the Salina tree.
So another question, we're going to go to maybe a little more personal. You mentioned you don't think you really have a rivalry within the school. You probably don't have a game circled.
Sure.
But what are some traditions that you guys have? This is kind of like my 3 sets of questions that I ask, and I didn't get to ask because I could hear you answering them and saying, I don't do that, I don't do that. So I guess my main question would be, you came in last year. This is going to be your second year. Is there any traditions or anything that you're starting at Electra, or maybe something you're continuing at Electra that is kind of cool? Not everybody knows the little things that go in the locker rooms or before the games, or so. I always ask that because I think it's cool. Do you have anything you got?
Yeah, I think there's some cool stuff. I don't know if we necessarily do them or haven't got there yet, but when I first got there, I went and reached out to a lot of people that have lived there and said, hey, what did y'all do? What would you like to see come back? And there were some things there were some things that they did in the past that I thought were really cool. They would bring the dads in after a game and shake everybody's hand and into the locker room, which I thought was a great deal. And there was some other things, a lot of traditions and stuff. People try to push traditions on you and push, well, we should do this and we should do that. And that's good stuff. And a lot of times they're good ideas, but a lot of times the best traditions in the world just happen organically. Yeah. It's just because something happened and you had to do without, and all of a sudden that became the battle cry, or that became. So I think that stuff's cool. And one of the things I did do, we're Electra, and I don't know if you guys know this, but we're the pump jack capital of Texas.
Okay.
All right. So let me put that out there, in your face. That's a flex. That's a flex from this guy. Yeah, pump jack capital of the world. And so I asked if someone had a pump jack that they would give us, and so there was a guy that had a pump jack, and we had a piece of concrete that was in the end zone, and I said, "Can you put this pump jack in the end zone?" And so they put the pump jack in the end zone, and I'm a graduate of Texas Tech, and I said, we wrap Will Rogers on the wins. And I said, hey, so if we win this game, let's go wrap that pump jack. And so we beat somebody, I don't know who it was, Monday or somebody, and kids went out there, cheerleaders went out there, and they put crepe paper all around it and wrapped it. And I was like, you know what, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
I don't know if that's something that, so wrap the jack kind of deal. And I don't know if it'll really,
wrap the jack.
Yeah, take off. But it's
some people may not know what a pump jack is.
Yeah, shame on them.
Yeah,
shame on
basically,
them.
It's a device that uses to pump oil, right?
Yeah,
it's an older device,
hydraulically
up and down,
moves it down moves down the pipeline.
Yeah, so
it's a money maker. So it means dollar bills.
Put one in my backyard.
So wrap the jack. I like that. That's pretty cool. Wrap the jack.
Yeah, but there's other, and there's some other things that we do that I really can't tell you because you have to be inside the program. And I know that sounds stupid, and it's just like well, just tell us because everybody does it. Well, there's some things that we do that the kids only know, and 20 years from now, we'll talk about it. The kids and me will talk about it, and nobody else will.
Yeah, that's internal stuff.
So, Coach, I'm gonna get to my last question. I call it the big old special. So it's 2 parts of my question. So the question is, the first part is, what's your favorite pregame meal?
Favorite pregame meal would be fried chicken. But that's kind of like my last meal on earth kind of deal. When you put fried chicken in front of me,
you go to town.
So here's the deal. So we have this, and I've loved fried chicken ever since I could open my mouth. Don't get me wrong. But when I was at Salina, there's this thing called playoff chicken. And we, pregame we'd eat spaghetti or whatever everybody else does. But once you get in the playoffs, you get playoff chicken. And so it's a special recipe by this mom that came up with it like 30-something years ago. And so all these moms would get together and cook us chicken and biscuits and everything like that. And, bro, I was in heaven, bro.
We need some of that, huh?
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Chicken.
So bring it to the OTS.
Yeah, so if I could eat chicken before every meal. Now, I've recently been told I was diabetic, and so that may cause me to change, so maybe it'd be a salad from now on. I don't know.
Grilled chicken.
My father-in-law, he blames everything on diabetes.
I do too now. I get yelled at work, and I'm like, Mr. Hasley, I'm diabetic. So leave me alone.
He'll be in reverse in the truck and hit the bell. Oh, diabetes.
That's nothing to laugh about, I know, but you kind of have to laugh at yourself a little bit.
So the second part of that question is, what is something that you guys like to feed the kids before games?
Friday mornings we have a breakfast. It's kind of one of our traditions that we've always done. So I'll bring in a guest speaker. The head coach will bring in a guest speaker Friday mornings. We'll have breakfast, and it's kind of moved around right now. We have it at one of our churches, local church, our First Baptist Church. Dr. Vanderlin's over there. But we'll have our quarterback club will actually get there probably about 4:45, 5 o'clock in the morning and start cooking breakfast. And then the kids will show up. We'll have a guest speaker, or we'll eat first and then we'll have a guest speaker, 15, 20 minutes, and then they'll go to school. But they'll eggs, bacon, you name it. Sometimes you'll see other stuff. You'll see breakfast tacos, you'll see all kinds of stuff. So whatever the guys want to make, that's what they feed them. They charge them whatever they charge them. And then, but it's a great tradition because it gives us the time to be able to feed the kids and make sure they're, fed before they go to school and stuff like that, and it helps, they get to see the dads too. We have a mentor program on Wednesday night that we started, which is also kind of marries into that. So it's really good. But yeah, as far as like pregame meals, eat whatever you want, just be smart. It's kind of what I tell them.
Refresh your ride during the Thrill of Summer sales event at Nissan of Wichita Falls. Come see our great lineup of new Nissans, including the all-new Nissan Rogue and the new 2024 Nissan Frontier. Nissan of Wichita Falls has a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles and a service staff of certified Nissan technicians, backed by the best parts department in Texoma. We're locally owned and operated with a sales team you can trust at Nissan of Wichita Falls.
So I lied actually when I said I didn't have any other questions. I had another question. It just reminded me. What is a typical game day for the head coach? Friday morning from start to finish. What's it like for you?
Sure. For me, I'll get up fairly early because of the breakfast stuff and do that. And, I try to spend. So in our situation, our field house is away from the high school. It's a mile away. And so normally on a day-to-day basis, I'm not at the high school very much because I'm taking care of things at the field house, whether that's field maintenance or equipment or whatever. Game days, I like to be at the school more. And normally I'm over there for a period or two and for lunch, but during game days, I like to be over there as much as possible. And so I'm over there talking to people and doing that, and then we'll make the calls just to make sure everything's good. You have workers, officials. I got a guy right now, Ryan Quillen, who used to be athletic director, who's great, who handles a lot of that stuff for me. He handles all the workers. So does that, I'll type up something for our PA guy to make sure that he covers all the sponsors and stuff like that. I've worked for some guys that take naps and do that. I'm not a nap guy,
I think I would be.
Yeah. To tell you the truth, when I game days, when I was a position coach or a coordinator, I loved to be in the classroom because it just got my juices going, and I didn't have to think about football. I was thinking about whatever it was, English or history or psychology, whatever it was, but I was thinking about those things and not just football. Kind of got my mind away from it. And then I felt, then my juices start coming like in the worst part of the day, of course, is like from 4 to 7 o'clock because it's just like good night. And we don't do a big.
I mean, it just drags on.
Yes, and we don't do a big dramatic pregame deal. It's pretty short and sweet.
No pep rallies or.
We'll have a pep rally during the day, at the end of the day, and things like that. But it's pretty short and sweet, which kind of matches my personality. I don't like. I love memories. Don't get me wrong. I love confetti guns and fireworks, and I think all that stuff's great for the kids. But myself, it's just I want to make sure that A, B, and C are covered every single time, and nothing's getting in my way from those things that have to be done.
All right, Coach. I did have one more thing I didn't highlight on
Both
this.
of you are liars.
Sorry about that.
Sorry.
I'll have one last question.
Please forgive me, guys. Please. So I noticed you said your son is a sophomore, correct?
Correct.
And he's the quarterback, correct?
Yes.
So the question that you have to ask this question: how do you distinguish the dad and the coach role? Does it roll over to the house, or do coaching stop at school?
I think it was a great question that Hearn asked earlier because that's one of the things I had to learn. Mm-hmm. Like, when do I cut that off and when do I don't? And I will tell you, being a coach's kid is hard because the expectations. People in town look at you sideways because you're only playing because your dad's the coach, that kind of deal. Well, you can't get invited to parties because your dad's the coach. You're going to tell on, so it's not an easy life. It's not. And then when your dad's like me, and I'm not easy on my kids. I don't spare the rod, and that rod is metaphorical to my mouth and things like that. And if you want to play quarterback for me, then you better have some thick skin, and you better know what you're doing. You better not just show up and hope for the best. We just don't do that, and so it was tough. It was one of the toughest things I ever did. Probably the toughest thing I ever did was move my son, who was going to be a senior, from Salina to Electra, because that was a big deal. He's, 2-year starter already. He was going to be a 3-year starter for one of the best teams in the state. Here I moved him to Electra, who's 159 or whatever I said at the bottom of the polls, and I'll playing with all new kids and things like that. But the Lord, we told him the Lord has a reason that he put us here. And so when we got into the season, I had to keep telling him that. And so that was the dad in me. You know, that was not the coach. That was the dad saying, hey, man, I don't know why we're here, but there's a plan. You know, we're not smart enough to know that plan, but there's a plan. And so my faith, and I think his faith and my family's faith helps draw that line sometimes, because it does get blurry.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to be at the dinner table and I'm going to tell you, why didn't you read the corner, you know, and things like that. But at the same time, you know, we're going to say grace, and that's going to clear my mind, or I'm going to read a verse or something. That's going to wind up clearing my mind. So I'm like, okay, I'm back at dad. I just need to be dad. Now, does that mean I'm going to be easier on the baby that's coming? No, I'm going to wear him out. And if he ain't good enough to be quarterback, then he ain't good. I'm not a guy that does that. And so if he ain't good enough to be quarterback and win us football games, then, you know, I get paid to provide a certain service, and that service is only good as long as games are being won, because all the other stuff doesn't matter. I could do mentor programs. I can do Friday this. I can do community this and community that. But if you go 0-10, they fire you. Another guy gets to come in and do all his stuff. So I got to, at some point, I got to say, okay, you got to win games. So if the young one ain't good enough to do it, you know, then he ain't good enough to do it. And, you know, I think he will be. I think it'll work out. But I got some other guys that play quarterback as well. But, man, I don't know if I'll be able to ever separate those two the way that in my mind, at least, you should be able to. I can't. It's athletics and football is such a huge part of us. Right now, I'm thinking about, man, what am I going to yell at him next? You know, that guy,
Yeah.
You know, but you know, I wish I could. I wish I could do it better, because I've seen some guys do it good, you know. But I'm telling you right now, maybe being harder than a head coach, that job of being the coach's kid is tough. It really is.
So my last question to you is, as you segued into it, you talked about moving your family from Salina, which is, like we talked about, a very rich program and tradition, to Electra. How's the community of Electra been for you guys in this year move since you just got there last month?
Super supportive, been really good. You know, the communities, it's night and day. You know, one's an affluent community on the northern part of Collin County, which is, and I think Salina, if you look at the latest deal from USA Today, they're the fastest growing city in the United States. Houses are all $700,000, $800,000. It's just a different deal. And so, you know, when you come into a town like Electra, where, you know, the affluence might not be there, but the want to be good is there.
Yeah.
And so, and I tell people all the time, man, I don't want money. That's not what I want. I want your time. You know, I want your support. I want your love. And I've been very, very blessed to have guys, you know, our booster club president is a guy named Jimmy Hernandez, and our quarterback captain, which is kind of the president of that, is a guy named Richard Lasher. And those two right there, right-hand men, you know, they've helped me out. They tell me about Jimmy. Jimmy grew up in Electra, so Jimmy's like, we used to do this tradition-wise. Don't do that, because that's going to offend somebody. So very helpful in that regard. You know, and Richard's got a couple kids in the program, so he's been really good. And so, you know, I think at the end of the day, whether you live in Refugio or you live in Tom Bean or wherever, man, you want your kids to have a great experience. And so I'm trying to provide that as best I can. And, you know, I look at it as like, would I want to play for me? Yep. You know, would I want my kids to play for the coach, a guy like me? And so when I start kind of maybe not getting, I have to readjust and things like that. But at the end of the day, you know, I think the people in Electra, you know, they're awesome. Like I said, super supportive. Will do whatever they can to help our program out. You know, you see moms cooking food, you know, pregame meals on Thursday and things like that, and dads painting the field, and, you know, and I try to get the community involved as much as I can. We have a thing on Thursday nights where I invite the community out to watch us practice, and it's, you know, it's a show. And part of that was because the stadium, when I first got there, it was like a sad place, like nobody wanted to be there. And I'm like, no, this is a place where good things happen.
Yeah.
And so the parents come out in droves. And we have a parent that runs a snow cone deal, and they'll park the snow cone deal out there, and we're doing snow cones. And I'm like, man, this is, you know, the more the merrier for me. If I can turn it into a party, I will, for sure, 100%.
Yes,
We
sir.
love parties. All right, so unfortunately, I think you guys have anything else?
No. Sir.
Do you have anything for us?
No, I just want, like I said earlier, I appreciate you guys and what you're trying to do, and trying to, you know, just trying to promote athletics, trying to promote this stuff, because I think that's such a and it's so valuable. It really is, and the kids love it, the parents love it, and you know, you talk about head coaches coming here. You know, every head coach wants to talk about his program. You know that for sure. And the more that we can talk about kids and call their names out, the better it is for us and better it is for them. So I appreciate you guys doing this.
Yes, sir. And we appreciate you. Like I said, appreciate you coming up, making the trip. We're excited to see, watch and follow you guys through your football program and even your other sports too.
Sure.
But man, we really appreciate you coming on. We wish you the best of luck this year, and hope all good things happen for you, Coach.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. Appreciate it.